The thing about mutual aid is that when you actively invest in your community, in listening, in hearing, in meeting people where they are, in helping them, you learn really quickly that there's a difference between extraction and a transactional exchange and reciprocity. And it's something that's hard for me to articulate because those words feel very close to each other. But transactions are capitalistic. It's a one-to-one give and take. And the thing about mutual aid and community care is you understand that it's not always possible to have that. It's often impossible. Not that there are people who need so much that they can't give, though that is true. It's more that it goes beyond the immediate moment. A transactional thing is immediate, right? It's about, I give you this, you give me that. Or we make a plan for it to be closed in that way at some point in the future. But we do that now. Mutual aid and reciprocity are about mutual benefit. We recognize that the most successful species is the most cooperative species. We recognize that no one of us can survive completely autonomously. We recognize that there are a lot of people who need a lot of different things. People's need looks different depending on where they're at in life, where they've come from, what they've experienced. This is why, for example, universal basic income can't be just a set number, because sick and disabled people have more expensive needs. Mutual aid is about everybody giving what they can so that as many people get as many of their needs met as possible. I do a lot of free labor these days, uplifting mutual aid for other people, because posting is one of my special interests, and it's something that's accessible to me as a chronically ill person. And as someone in autistic burnout, doing my special interest gives me energy, keeps me emotionally stabilized. And beyond that, actively helping people makes you feel really good. And beyond that, once you actively invest in this kind of work, helping others with no expectation of like a one-to-one transactional payback. I will make 50 posts in a day for other people and not get any donations for me and my brother. And while that is frustrating, I'm not doing the posts for others so that I get donations for myself. I'm doing the posts for others because they need help. And it's a special interest. And I have a platform and time and a skill set that allows me to give, to help, to do something. And the more that I do that, the more my community grows and the more my systems of support are strengthened. Because while it's not transactional, it is reciprocal, mutual benefit. People do value the work that I do, even if it's not valued within a capitalistic society. I know this because people reach out to thank me or say as much. But I also know this because while it's never guaranteed that we get the donations we need, we do pretty consistently get our needs covered. And there have been moments where people from my mutual aid communities have stepped up with large sums to help me and my brother. And the most recent example, someone spent over $200 on electrolytes, protein, and food delivery gift cards for me and my brother. That's how much someone in my community values my labor and is invested in my survival and my brother's. And this is a perfect example of how it is not transactional and shouldn't be. You can't put a value on the posts that I make for other people, and I have no way of quantifying how many of those posts this person has seen. But after 2 days of receiving about $10 total in donations, and still posting as much as I could for other people, I got $200 worth of reciprocity. Someone decided that fulfilling my need was to the mutual benefit of our communities, to the point that they were willing to drop $200. I'm not trying to show off here. I'm trying to give you an example that's tangible and immediate about how mutual aid is different from capitalism. Because beyond what I just told you, there are people who don't have the ability or energy to do what I do. There are people who don't have the platforms that I do, and they still need help. They still need their needs met. Something about mutual aid that's important to know is that helping the helpers helps everyone, because there are people who can't advocate for themselves. So we need helpers stabilized to advocate for those who can't. But that doesn't mean that we leave the people who can't advocate for themselves or the people who struggle to advocate for others. We don't leave them behind, because it is to the mutual benefit of everyone to keep our most vulnerable community members stable. That proves that we have systems of support that can keep anyone alive. That means that if something happens to the most able-bodied person, they will be set up to survive. Because disability is not an if, it's a when, especially under a capitalist society. And if you pair that with the fact that disability is a capitalist construct, because in indigenous communities, they structure society to work for everyone. It's only in the society where you are only valued for your labor, or everything is built around white supremacy, that being disabled means not getting your needs met. The most successful society is a cooperative one. We create societies to uplift everyone, to keep us as safe and strong as possible. It makes no sense to build a society where we compete to death. Working to get someone else's needs met means that there is a system in place to get people's needs met, which means that there's a system in place to get your needs met. Why aren't you invested in that? Why aren't you interested in setting up a world where we take care of each other and help each other survive? Where we get to do labor that we're passionate about at a pace that's healthy for us. Mutual aid is a response to capitalism, because why should we have to earn our living? We're alive. In a cooperative society, if someone can't reach the bananas to feed themselves, there's someone around whose job, even just as a basic good neighbor, is to reach up and help. Do you need me to peel that for you? And the thing about reciprocity is, that person doesn't have to pick a banana for me to pay me back. It makes me happy to help that person and know that they are able to eat. And also, with the experience I've had doing mutual aid this actively for less than a year, that person or someone in their circle will find a way to pay it forward. It may be years from now, and it may be in ways I don't even see. But at the very least, I helped them survive a little bit longer. Imagine what they could contribute to the world with one more day. No one has to contribute to be allowed to survive. But people can't contribute in the best ways possible because they are constantly scraping to survive. Or they're so invested in competition that they sacrifice their soul to step on their neighbors to get a little bit further. Seeing community as transactional means that you see your neighbors in terms of dollar signs, which means you don't see them as human. They're either a barrier to your profit or some kind of catalyst to it. You're going to extract what you can from them to get to where you need to be, and leave them behind. And if you see them as a barrier, you're going to crush them when you'd both be more successful and happier if you work together. Every act you do to help someone else is a ripple effect. The ripples spread and grow and sometimes start other ripples. And if we're all starting our own ripples, that means that you are going to benefit too. If you drop one pebble in a pond, there's an effect. There's a change. Imagine dropping 100. I've mixed some metaphors here. Long story short, helping others helps you in more ways than one. In conclusion, reciprocity.